Since its inauguration in 1988, the World Superbikes Championship has been a rolling test bed for motorcycle manufacturers looking to create their own road-going sports motorcycles. Win on Sunday, sell on Monday is how the old adage goes, and it's never been truer than with the current crop of race-bred World Superbikes for the road. In this video we take a closer look at each of the factory-backed superbike contenders, how much they cost, what they're like to ride on the road, and most importantly, which one should be commanding a place in your garage when the current lockdown ends. Before we start though, please do take a second to click like, subscribe and hit the notification bell so that you can stay up to date with all of Visordown.com's latest videos. And please do head over to Visordown.com for all the latest news, reviews and motorcycle features. So without further ado, here is each bike, starting with the price. Starting at £15,585, the BMW will command a price per month of £186. That's based on a £3,058 deposit. For that you'll get a TFT dash with connectivity, BMW Motorrad Race ABS, 4 riding modes, rain, road, dynamic and race, rear lift detection, traction control, gear shift assist pro and hill assist pro. For around £1,200 more you can opt for the dynamic package, which will include cruise control, dynamic damping control, which is electronic suspension, and heated grips. So the base Ducati Panigale V4 comes in at £19,995, although that is for the slightly lesser spec bike without the addition of the electronic suspension. That machine, which is the S version, features Öhlins EC semi-active suspension, and that comes in at a heady £24,795. On a £3,000 deposit, the base model will return a monthly price of £250 per month, plus the optional payment fee. The S version with the trick suspension will come in at around £341 per month, based on the same deposit. Honda's biggest, baddest and hopefully best Fireblade of recent years came swaggering into the motorcycle world at the EICMA show in Milan last year. It boasted never heard of amounts from a Honda built inline 4-cylinder motorcycle engine, featured all new electronics and electronic suspension and those much talked about aerodynamic winglets. There are 2 versions of the new blade available, the standard bike and the more trick SP version. The base bike comes in at $19,999 and features shower suspension and Nissin brakes. That bike will return a monthly repayment of £260 per month based on a £3,806 deposit. The SP version, featuring all the goodies that you're going to want on a bike like this, comes in at £320 per month based on a £4,000 deposit. Of all the bikes on this list, the Kawasaki ZX-10R Ninja is the one with the most illustrious modern day world superbike history. With Tom Sykes and Jonathan Ray behind the bars, the Ninja has notched up 6 World Superbike Championship victories, with Sykes taking 1 in 2013 and Ray hoovering up the other 5. For a bike with such pedigree at the pinnacle of production motorcycle racing, you'd expect the ZX-10R to be priced accordingly, but it's actually really not. The entry point into ownership of this machine comes in at £14,499 or around £160 per month based on a £3,500 deposit. So the most successful of all the bikes turns out to be the best value machine on the list. Like the Kawasaki above, the ubiquitous Yamaha R1 seems to have grown up on the track right in front of our eyes. Today the R1, with its combination of race-bred looks and cross-plane crank inline 4 engine, makes it one of the most popular sports bikes on the market today. The base model of the R1 comes in at £16,947, which translates as around about £199 per month based on a £3,475 deposit. The top of the Yamaha Supersport range comes in the form of the R1M, which features a host of upgrades including carbon bodywork, Öhlins electronic suspension and race-bred riding and control modes. That bike is £22,147 and it would cost you £269 per month based on a £4,383 deposit. Of all the bikes on this list, the BMW has the most easygoing engine of all. It's an amazingly simple machine to ride, whether you're hammering down an alpine pass or trickling through a village at 30 miles an hour. The ride-by-wire throttle is perfectly set up and is weighted just like a conventional cable-operated item. And the fact that the bike can be spec'd to include cruise control adds a level of real-world usability that is rarely seen in this class. If there is one thing that I like to say about the BM, and in particular the engine, it's that it's typically Bavarian. And while the engine produces levels of mid-range torque that are rarely seen from an inline 4, it doesn't really have any character at all. It just gets on with the job in hand with classic German composure. If you're a fan of a huge side order of theatre with your sports bike, the Panigale and its V4 engine might be just the thing for you. Its short-stroke Desma Sedici Stradale V4 is a cacophony of cam chains and clutch and intake howl. It's really hard to beat. It's also ferociously fast and is backed up by a very reminiscent MotoGP soundtrack. What it isn't though is easygoing or good-natured. The V4 engine from the Ducati commands respect, especially when riding on the roads. It is though an engine that will lose all of that rattle and bang at higher speeds. And it is though the kind of speeds that's likely to have the local police placing your licence into the paper shredder back at the police station. Of all the new breed of bikes here, for me, the Honda has gained the most and had the most to lose. Winning the outright power battle and making headway on track is one thing, but losing all of that important ease of use that owners have grown to love about the Fireblade would have been a bit like Honda shooting themselves in the foot. After the launch of the new bike in Qatar, it became apparent that the new blade is a totally different animal than before. It has lost some of the mid-range torque of the bike of old, but it's also gained a new rush to the red line that wasn't there before. If you're looking for an almost unbeatable track machine right out of the box, the Fireblade is going to be very hard to beat, although that doesn't always translate to a good road bike. For riders looking for arm-wrenching torque from well down in the rev range, a stock ZX-10R is probably not your weapon of choice. It's a trait that can be helped by changing the gearing or even more severe engine and exhaust modifications, although you do then lose some of the character that Kawasaki has tried to instill in the bike. Once above 7,000 RPM, the motor goes ballistic, with a second surge of acceleration arriving at around 11,000 RPM, just to let you know that it isn't quite done yet. With its cross-plane crank 999cc engine, the Yamaha R1M is a torque and power fest, with high levels of usability whether you're riding it on the road or the racetrack. It's also backed up by a beautiful exhaust note that makes you actually feel like you're Valentino Rossi as you head down the straight at Jerez. Is it the best engine configuration for a road bike on this list? It's very close. It's almost V4-esque thanks to that cross-plane crank. Out on the blisteringly fast Jerez circuit, the engine's torque and power are unmistakable. The new bike's got 4 catalyzers doing little to mute that MotoGP exhaust note, and if anything, the engine feels like it's pulling better in the lower gears than the old machine. Other than the improved rideability lowdown, most of the other revisions for the 2020 bike are hard to pinpoint though, and probably more about emissions and noise regulations than outright performance and rideability. Standing out in this pack of Öhlins and Showa shod bikes is the BMW S1000RR and its Marzocchi suspension that can be upgraded to electronic control via the dynamic package. In either setup, the suspension of the new S1000RR feels very plush and well damped. It does actually work well at any speed. It's all thanks to the suspension and the new flex frame for 2020 that uses the engine as a stressed member, and it just helps to calm the bike a little bit on corner entry. Overall, it's a good balance of performance, adjustability and stability that should allow both novice track riders and more experienced hands to get the most from the bike. With its top spec Öhlins setup, the Panigale is a very sweet handling motorcycle for the casual road rider or experienced track day hero. It's telepathically fast to turn, helped in part by those bespoke Pirelli hoops that echo the MotoGP bikes, and it seems to drop from upright to knee on the deck with eye-popping speed. The latest version of the Panigale has also lost some of the point and squirt handling dynamics of the first generation Panigale V4, and in my mind it's all the better for it. The frame upgrades and revised centre of gravity of the new 2020 bike make it more composed and more precise on the brakes and on corner entry. With Showa and Öhlins taking up the suspension on the stock blade and the SP respectively, there is a bit of a void between the two. We only got to ride the SP on the launch at Qatar, which is blessed with the electronically controlled damping front and rear. While we're sure the Showa kit on the stocker is good, we doubt it'll be able to hold a candle to the SP's more superior setup on the track. At the new Fireblade's launch on the Losail MotoGP track in Qatar, the Öhlins setup on the SP genuinely surprised me with the levels of adjustability and apparent ease with which you could distinguish between the different setups. Having tried out various modes during the day, for me it was the fully electronic mode that enabled me to get the most out of the new 1000cc sports bike. Its electronic brain knew what was going on better than I did and could quickly spot a problem developing and act accordingly to make me faster and safer on the track. The Showa suspension of the ZX-10R could be described as being firm but fair. Around town the setup gives little away, with minimal dive on the brakes and a fairly unforgiving ride. It's not where the bike is at its best though, and taut suspension really comes into its own on a fast road ride or even track. The ZX-10Rs of old were wild beasts that only the bravest would dare to attempt to tame. The latest generation ZX-10R though is a totally different animal, with a softer nature at normal and faster speeds that makes riding one a much more serene experience. Out on the track though is the real playground for a bike like this, and once there, the World Superbike DNA of the Kawasaki ZX-10R Ninja really shines through. Having ridden both the stock R1 and the R1M at the press launch at the tail end of last year, I can tell you that while both are formidable track and road machines, there is a void in handling that separates the two. The base model R1 did feel soft, forgiving and, dare I say it, a little bit all at sea on the punishing Jerez circuit. It was fast-mined and with its slightly softer setup would probably make the better road bike of the two models on offer. The R1M on the other hand felt as hard as a race bike as we hopped on it after the lunch break. The level of support, precision and confidence had increased, with the only real fly in the ointment being the Sumitomo made calipers offering a very wooden feel at the lever and not much in the way of bite. Picking between these bikes that are all at the top of their games is a bit like choosing whether you'd like your lottery winnings paid into your current account or sent to you in the form of a cheque. You still get the dream ending, it's just how you collect it that changes. So we've broken this one down for you. With the real-world additions like cruise control and heated grips, the S1000RR will for many people make it the bike of choice for everyday life on the road. If you're looking for a track bike that will eclipse every other stock machine out there, the Honda CBR1000RR or the SP cannot be ignored. It's bonkersly fast thanks to its engine, includes top spec electronics and even has those aerodynamic winglets that everybody is talking about. With the amount of updates and upgrades that are out there and available for the ZX-10R, it's the modifier's dream of a bike, and that acts like a blank canvas for those that like to fettle and fiddle with their bikes until it's just how they like it. If you wanted to build yourself the ultimate world superbike replica for the road, there isn't a better place to start than the Kawasaki ZX-10R Ninja.